The choices you start to make from day one matters. And current graduate students in the US would agree with this if they are honest. Sometimes you're already in a lab and you're conducting the research and you're asking yourself, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing here. I always tell people this: it is highly important to know what you are dealing with before you get started. So, for example, if you've received an admission letter for fall 2025, or if you're planning to apply to grad school in the future, this is the video you want to watch so that you will know how to plan yourself strategically to achieve your goals once you arrive to the United States. If you're like me and you've been on social media recently, you would have seen a video of NESP conference that recently happened in Chicago looking like this, where there are a bunch of kids, a bunch of black students looking for jobs at NESP conference. This is the reality of international students in the US. There are few job spots for this many thousands of people. And what should you do as an international student that's about to graduate in the US, or that's about to come to the US for school, and you know ultimately you'll be looking for a job, dare I say, high paying job that will take care of you? What should you do? How should you navigate this process? You can confidently say, I know somebody at Pfizer, I know someone at Johnson & Johnson, I know someone at P&G. Guess who can say that? You know them, you have met them, you've worked with them because you interned with them. There are a lot of issues around job search process, and there are a lot of tricks and tips that I have to offer you. So stick around in this video if you want to learn more. If you're still in school and you want to make sure that you land that dream job once you graduate, or if you're about to come to the US and you want to make sure you know everything you need to know. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. I am just excited to have you all here. There's a bit of a change of scenery. I'm traveling, so I used the opportunity to decide to just shoot and give you guys a bit of a change of scenery. Also, I got a smaller mic. A huge shout out and thanks to everyone who has subscribed to the channel from the last video, and everyone that has been commenting and engaging the channel and asking me questions and asking my feedback and thoughts on different topics and issues. Thank you very much. Because of you, we are growing dramatically, and we are on a highway to 20,000 subscribers, and it is because of you that we're able to achieve that. So if you're currently watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, head on to that subscribe button, hit subscribe. Do not stop there. Go to the notification bell and strike that button too. The goal is so that you will be informed the moment I upload a new video. Also, I come to realize the way this works is if you do not have the YouTube app on your phone, you would not be informed right away. So you need to have the app so that you would be informed of my new videos. All right, that said, please check out all the videos I have on the channel. I typically release videos on grad school applications, on professional development, career development, and finance for graduate students. So what I will be doing today is talking about professional development for graduate students in the United States. On this channel, I pride myself on bringing you premium information that will be useful for you, that you probably would not know once you come to the US, and you might make mistakes before you learn. But I want to talk about jobs. Okay, so I want to talk about jobs because in the last month only, I have friends that have reached out to me, sending me captions of emails that they received wherein they were flat out denied for a job. But more importantly, it is not that it's not because they are not qualified. It is because they do not have green cards, or because they are not US citizens. And they've reached out, they send me pictures. I'm not gonna put out anyone's name, but more importantly, what I want to emphasize here is, I talked about it in the other video, and I'm like, as an international person, you are fighting two fights when you're applying to a job. They are not just looking at the fact that you're qualified or not qualified. They are also looking at whether you are permitted to work in the US or not. So whether you were coming to the US for a master's or a PhD, I am here to talk about how you can prepare yourself for the process of graduation and hopefully scale the process of job search without going through the pain and stress that a lot of us and a lot of our people, brothers and sisters, are currently experiencing in the United States. All right, let's get into the video. Now, there are a couple things you need to do to set yourself apart. First and foremost, this is very important. If you are coming to the US for a master's or a PhD, It doesn't matter the field, whether you are in arts or the sciences or engineering or computer science or whatever it is, or mathematics. When you get to the US and you go to your department and they are trying to match you to a professor, and I know this might not be the case with Canada. In Canada, before you come to Canada, I think you already have a professor you're going to work with, so this might not apply to Canada. But in the US, if you come to your school and you are already in your department and they're trying to match you to a professor, majority of the time they will ask you to conduct an interview with these professors. So you go to their office, you speak to them, they speak to you, you tell them about your interest, and you get to speak to students in their labs before you make a choice. So you rank at least some schools do it this way. Then you rank the professors based on your interest, based on how you feel you connect to them. You give rank 1 to 3. The professors will rank the students 1 to 3. Then they try to pair 1 to 1 as best as they can. Then in some programs, they allow you to do rotations. So you move around different labs before you choose. Now, here's where I'm going with this. Regardless of how this process is set up in your school or in your program, what I want you to keep in mind here and what I want you to know is that as you go through this process, the choice of advisor, the choice of lab, the choice of work you choose to do impacts the kind of job you will get in the future. Okay, if I didn't say this clearly, let me say it again. Depending on who you choose to work with and the kind of research you choose to conduct when you're here in the US, it will directly or indirectly impact the kind of job you end up getting on graduation. So I don't know why it comes up. It's just a reflex, but I'm saying this to ring it into your mind that the choices you start to make from day one matters. And current graduate students in the US would agree with this if they are honest. Sometimes you're already in a lab and you're conducting the research and you're asking yourself, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is not something I find passionate. Some people are in some labs and they're like, I'm glad I'm here. You know why? Because if your plan is to work in Pfizer, in Merck, in Johnson & Johnson, AbbVie, Gilead Sciences, these are pharmaceuticals, these are top pharmaceutical companies. If your plan was to work in pharmaceutical sciences and you're a chemist or biologist or microbiologist or biochemist, all of these fields, all of these people, or even physicists, really, you can work in pharmaceuticals. If your goal was to work in pharmaceutical and the research you're doing has nothing to do with pharmaceutical sciences, so your research was in maybe inorganic synthesis of like maybe semiconductors, right? Which it is good. You're only fit for tech companies like maybe Nvidia or Intel. So you see that by the research you choose to do, because in the chemistry department you will see people working on semiconductors, you see people working on drug development. So if you choose to go the wrong way from day one, while your passion is somewhere else, that's where your mistake starts. That's where the problem begins. All right. So I hope that this makes sense and this establishes precedence that once you arrive here, the very first choice you have to make, which is the research you'll be conducting, the lab you'll be joining, all of that plays a role. Now, one might ask and wonder, Obed, what happened to my SOP? The research I described in my SOP. If I change my mind, if I had said in my SOP I wanted to work on nanocomposite materials for advanced technologies in self-healing automobile materials or whatever terminology you want to throw at me, what if I had said I was going to do all this in my SOP? What if I come to the US and start saying I want to do something else? Would they judge me? No. Your statement of purpose or personal statement that you used to get admission was for that. You proved that you can write an essay, you proved that you have an interest, you proved that you're fit for the department, you proved that there are people in the department you can work with. That is completely fine. When you arrive here and you start talking to these people and you have a change of heart, I promise you no one's going to judge you. I'm not even joking. No one's going to judge you. So at the end of the day, just be honest with yourself. In the US, they always have a culture of authenticity and being true to yourself. So, and they want you to be passionate about what you do. So if what you end up doing is not something you're passionate about, or if you speak to the professor, you don't like their personality, or you learn about how they handle their students or treat their students, you don't like it, no one's going to judge you. So to answer your question, even if you've said in your SOP you were going to do this and do that, if you come to the US and change your mind, no judgment. Again, I don't know why I'm thumbsing up, but I'm just certifying that no judgment. All right, so that's that. So step number one of figuring out your job situation as an international student is the choice you make from day one, which is choosing the right research area, choosing the right professor, choosing the right lab that correlates to your future goal of what you want to do when you graduate. Number two, internships. Now, a lot of advisors don't like students going for internships because it takes away from your time spent in the lab, and they are mostly selfish. The professors, they want you to spend time doing their own research work essentially. So what I would typically advise is make it clear from day one that you would like to go for an internship in the summer. What is the summertime? Summer is once you're coming, for example, if you're coming for 2025, you would do fall semester, which is first semester, between August and December. Then you take a break, then you come back January or end of January and start second semester, then you're done May of next year. So from May, June, July, you have 3 months that you can use to explore internship opportunities, or you can choose to remain on campus and keep doing research for your advisor. So my advice is consider internships in those 3 months. It is usually not completely 3 months, it is usually 10 weeks in that period. We call those months summer months. So consider going for an internship. I would continue with the example of pharmaceuticals. If you want to work in a pharmaceutical, by the way, they pay a lot. So ultimately, like we say in Nigeria, I know come Lagos, can't look bridge, right? So it's the same thing here. You can confidently say, I didn't come to America to look at tall buildings. I came to America to make money. So if you're interested in the money, pharmaceuticals do pay well. But what I'm trying to say is, so if you know you want to get into pharmaceuticals, you want to start applying for summer internships to pharmaceuticals like Merck, AbbVie, Johnson and Johnson, Pfizer, you know some of these names. So again, you want to get into the internship programs. Look at internships as a long interview process. And yes, in case you want to ask, do companies give job offers 2-3 years ahead of time? Yes, I have seen it. I've seen someone who was attending Yale. I think she's still at Yale. She was in her second year. She has 3 more years to graduation, and she has a job offer from 3M, the chemical manufacturing company. And I've seen P&G does it as well. They give job offers years and years ahead of time. This is normal. Don't find it surprising. This is America. A lot of things happen that way. So go for internships. Am I saying that if you go for an internship in the summer, so if you're starting school this fall in August this year, am I saying that by next year summer, if you do internship, a company will give you a job? I'm not guaranteeing you that, but I'm telling you that it happens. Does that make sense? So, but if in the event where you don't even secure a job offer after your internship next summer, think about it this way: you have 4 more years if you're doing a PhD, or you have 1 more summer if you're doing a master's. But more importantly, when the time comes, you now know somebody in those companies. And I'll tie this up to my last point at the end of the day that I'm trying to make. You now know someone in these companies that would help you out when the time comes. When you're looking for a job, you have people to message. You can confidently say, I know somebody at Pfizer, I know someone at Johnson & Johnson, I know someone at P&G. Guess who can say that? You know them, you have met them, you've worked with them because you interned with them and you've created an impression. Does that make sense? All right, so go for internship. That's point number 2. Internships are very important and they set you up for a job offer. Emphasis on internships are a long interview process. That's someone that said that to me before, and I agree with them. Point number 3 is explore co-ops. Now, co-ops allow you to go to school while working. So I think co-ops are more relevant for Americans, to be honest. I don't know a lot of international students that do co-ops, but it allows you to, if you're an undergrad or graduate student, you can be doing your program, which is university, and still maintain a job, a part-time job with a company. It is a very common practice here. And you will be going to the job when you can and going to school when you can. So you kind of combine both and you actually get paid while doing this. So explore co-ops. The general idea here is it's also like internships, but do that maybe in the summer. You want to use this as a step in the door. You want to get your foot in the door of the company. You want to know someone, you want to know people. LinkedIn alone will not cut it. So you got to know somebody. And to do this, you got to get your foot in the door of the company, meet people face to face, introduce yourself, let them know you, stuff like that. Does that make sense? Explore conferences and symposiums and workshops, or whatever they might call it. So example of conferences for me in the chemical sciences is American Chemical Society conferences, ACS. If you are a person of color, right, if you're black, Hispanic, Indian, maybe, I'm not sure, but if you're a person of color, right, and you can explore Nobuche conference, or you can go to NESPI. So these two conferences are remarkable for job offers. Depending on your field, explore all these conferences. There are opportunities to meet people and meet recruiters from companies that will offer people jobs on the spot. The last thing I want you to do is explore networking. What are the avenues for networking? LinkedIn is one. Going to professional conferences is the number two. They are the two most reliable ways. Then number three is internships and co-ops, as I've mentioned earlier. Explore these options, reach out to people, meet people, introduce yourself to people if you can. I know this is hard for most people because some people are not very confident and they are not outgoing, but if you're coming to the US, this is a skill you will need to hone and build. I wish there was a better way to go about this. It's just hard. Number 5 thing that I should probably talk about here is postdoctoral opportunities. That's for people that are already in PhD programs and you feel like you're already struggling to get a job. So maybe you are in your final year and you're struggling to get a job. A professor once told me something, and he said that if you are interested in pharmaceutical, I'll still take that example. Okay, if you're interested in pharmaceutical and your research has always been semiconductors for diodes or whatever, but now you want to go to a pharmaceutical company, it is very simple, right? I won't say simple, but consider doing a postdoc to learn the skill for where you want to be. So you can now do a postdoc at AbbVie or at Merck or Johnson & Johnson. If you're able to land it, that would be great. But consider doing a postdoc either at the company or at a university where you're learning a new skill that prepares you for the new place you want to go. But then if you took my advice from day one, the advice I'm telling you now is make sure that even when before your program starts, you're already choosing the research that's targeting the job you want to do. Take my advice from here so that you don't need to do that postdoc option in the future. Other than that, I think this has been a very productive video, and I hope that as you continue to navigate the job process, both for current graduate students and for prospective graduate students that are still in Africa, I hope you make the right choices, and I wish you all the best with this entire process. I look forward to connecting with you in the comment section to navigate your thoughts and your 2 cents pretty much on this issue. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if this content was useful to you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.